hello, sweet babies at home. Today we are learning about the respiratory system. All right. The respiratory system is the system where you are breathing in and out. Let's first label the main parts of the respiratory system. All right, first, when you breathe in air, it comes in either through your nose, label that, or it comes in through your mouth. Now, if you're snoring, you're usually breathing through your mouth. If you are running, you guys are usually breathing through your mouth. Your mouth is better at getting in lots of air at once, right? Okay, so what we did is in our science journals, we created a little section where we have a little picture of the respiratory system. And then we have another smaller picture where you can see kind of where it is in relation to the human body. Okay. So first is your nose and your mouth. Now, this thing right here, that is called your larynx. Larynx. And believe it or not, your larynx, in combination with the oxygen that comes in and out of your mouth, it creates sound. That sounds that you make. So like how you hum, if you hum, you can feel your larynx moving. Hum. Do you feel it back there? Okay. And if you do a deeper one, then you can feel it differently. Very good. All right, so your larynx is part of your respiratory system. This right here is, a lot of people call it your windpipe, but its technical name is called your trachea. Okay, your trachea. Trachea is where the oxygen comes into, it goes from your mouth down into your lungs, which leads us to these two big guys. And I want you to make sure that you understand that there are two of them. There's two lungs. These are called your lungs. And then we're going to draw something in that is not included in this picture, but is absolutely fundamental to breathing. There is a large dome-shaped muscle right here. I want you to draw it in. It's long, it's large, and it goes right underneath your lungs. Okay? And this muscle is called the diaphragm. Diaphragm. Have any of you ever had the air knocked out of you? Yep. Okay. So what happens here? Jaden's going to stand up. I'm going to demonstrate using Jaden. Okay. So if you come here, if you get, and I'm not actually going to hit you, please, everybody at home, I'm not actually going to hit them. If you get punched in the gut, what it does is right here underneath your lungs is your diaphragm. Everybody put your hands right here. Okay. And if you push it in with your hands, and you literally will kind of feel it go like that. Like, don't you feel your lungs kind of go, kind of feel your lungs go up? Okay. Move further up. You're in your belly, honey. Move up. There you go. Push right here, right underneath your rib cage. Right there. Okay, so what happens, focus guys, what happens is when you get hit in that diaphragm, your diaphragm seizes up and then your lungs stop working for a couple of seconds. Because the diaphragm, everybody breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. When you breathe in and out, your diaphragm goes up and down and up and down. And that's what fills up your lungs. Yes, Jamie? Oh, she did? Okay, very cool. Okay, so this is a large muscle called the diaphragm. Okay, so let's write down a couple of notes. All right, so the parts. The parts are, first, you've got the mouth and the nose. Then you've got, don't worry about the larynx. You've got the trachea. The trachea is the windpipe. Probably the most fundamental part is the lungs. because that's where the lungs work along with the heart to get oxygen into the blood. And then the last is the diaphragm. The diaphragm is actually the muscle that is in charge of moving your lungs, helping them to inflate and deflate, and inflate and deflate. All right, so we've got that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to write down what it actually does. It brings in oxygen, because you know that your whole body needs oxygen to survive. It brings in oxygen, and then it also releases the waste gas, meaning dirty air. And the dirty air that comes out of your body is called carbon dioxide. This is very important that you have this written down. All right, last thing for the respiratory system is that it lets you inhale, that's breathe in, and exhale, which is breathe out. Okay. All right, so that is the parts and the function. Parts is what is it made of, and the function is what does it do. Now, I don't want you to think that it does anything by itself. Okay, so the brain tells the lungs to move. The muscles, the diaphragm is a gigantic muscle. And I want you to write that next to diaphragm. It is a muscle. That is what pushes your lungs. That's very important that you understand that the diaphragm is a muscle. Then down here, I'm going to draw an orange line, and I'm going to make one last connection for you. Okay, and the final connection I want you to do is I want you to understand what the respiratory system does with the circulatory system. So the circulatory, that's the one we learned about yesterday, the circulatory system and respiratory, now they work together. Respiratory, they work together, they're a team. And how do they work together? Well, the respiratory system takes in the oxygen. It takes it in. It takes in the oxygen. And then the circulatory system delivers oxygen rich blood to the body. Does that make sense? So the lungs bring in the oxygen, and then the respiratory system delivers all that oxygen. The circulatory system delivers it all. It transports it all around. And then after that's done, the circulatory system and the respiratory system remove the carbon dioxide. They get it out of there because you don't need it. You breathe in oxygen and you breathe out carbon dioxide. I'm going to move that up so you can see it a little bit better. So these are the things that they do together. Okay, that's how these two work together. All right. Then I got one more connection. The muscular system also works with the respiratory system. Now, how? All right, so how do those two work together? Well, how they work together is that the diaphragm is a gigantic muscle, right? Okay, so it takes in oxygen to keep the muscles moving. And you know this. Don't the more you move, the more you need to breathe? Write that. More movement. Y'all know this. After you run a long race, don't you need more air? More movement equals more breathing. The two are linked together. More movement equals more breathing. Make sure you have these notes down.